Next, we welcome Eggleston Bracey, the COO and EVP of Beauty and Personal Care at Unilever. currently leads the $5 billion beauty and personal care portfolio, and she founded Dove's Crown Coalition to eradicate hair discrimination through support of the Crown Act legislation. She's also held top roles at Coty and P&G and has been recognized with numerous awards. Welcome,
Hi, thank you for having me. Good to talk to you, Gary.
Always good to see you, Let's get right into it. Especially being at the helm of such a big piece of business, which consumer behavior shifts will be key to driving growth in 2021. When you think about the upcoming year with all these incredible products under this category that you run, where do you see the biggest opportunity? And then on the flip side, what's giving you the most agita? Like, we're a big company and I don't think I'm gonna be able to move fast enough on this thing and I need to find some sort of hack or solution.
Yeah, I think what we will continue to see and will become even more relevant is the area of wellness and in self-care. Your guest earlier today, Suki and Deborah, we keep talking about the pandemic. Suki talked about 2 pandemics. I'd say there's 4. There's the health pandemic, there's the racial inequity pandemic, there's the economic crisis, and then there's the crisis of divisiveness in total we saw living through the election. So because of all these things, we are under an incredible amount of stress, all of us. I think something like 55% of consumers say, I have more stress than I've ever had on a daily basis. So what we have to do in terms of being of service and helping people is helping them take care of themselves. And when I think about self-care through wellness, it's 2 parts to it. There's a functional part, which is hygiene and the categories that I lead in skin cleansing and in hair and deodorants and skincare. There's the functional part, and we have a range of new products to address that, and I can go through what those are. The emotional part, and the emotional part comes from identity, being comfortable in your own skin. Things like Dove's Crown Act help with that, making sure you're welcome and included, but it's also that you have moments of time out for yourself. And again, in the markets that I lead, there's a lot you can do in the shower to get away from the kids who are schooling at home.
True.
Private time in the shower and products that make a difference there, help you change your hairstyle, just a little bit of perk up in your skin. So wellness and self-care for sure.
I like that. Talk to me about something that's been a big theme today, which is speed. How do you feel about internally and with the external partners that you're working with in a 2021 world? What do you feel like you sit on speed, and how do you feel about speed?
Yeah, from a speed perspective, I actually would first reflect to 2020.
Okay.
I always say crisis breeds invention.
Yes.
And I have seen, my business is about 5 billion in sales, hundreds of people on the marketing team. I have seen the enterprise move like never before. We literally launched into Suave hand sanitizers in less than 6 weeks. It was not even in our realm of what we were planning to do. And I watched us cut through all the process that we would typically use to make this happen. So the question really is, so for me, I keep saying we've taught the elephant how to dance, and then we've done it over and over again in other areas. We've now have a product I really love is Dove Nourishing Hand Sanitizer. It's like this hand sanitizer is like putting lotion on your hands. It's unbelievable. And that was something that was on our plan, but 2 years out. And we ended up doing that in less than a year. And it's really a technical innovation. So it's like we've shown the elephant can dance. How do we keep the elephant dancing? Because we're all looking for that relief. We've cut corners, we've moved really fast. It's now how do we make that in our way of working? So you asked, how do I feel about speed in 2021? I feel like we've demonstrated we can move fast. Now we're like cracking our ongoing systemic ways of working so that we can lean into those behaviors we exhibited that bypass the system. So it's now actually the system.
Talk to me about cost of creative. You know, what's the conversations, the things you're thinking about going into 2021 around the notion of production cost? That was a big topic over the last 6 to 9 months. I've heard from a lot of people, just the brief to the idea, all those meeting hours. Is that a conversation that you're going into with 2021?
I think in 2021, we continue to want cut through. And I think what is in today's world, you can't necessarily associate cut through with cost. And Gary, you know this in what you do. There's so many ways to disrupt without great cost. And there are ways that you need to disrupt that take a lot of cost depending on what the idea is. So we are putting a currency on the idea and cut through. And in that cut through, it's really authenticity. And sometimes, and again, Gary, this is what you do. And to get that cut through, many times authenticity, it's user-generated content. You know, it's someone with the camera. So it's less about policing production cost. It's really driving impact overall, really using the full stream of tools and assets that are available to us.
In your category, influencer marketing is just a wildly big and important conversation. I think it's an early one. So I'm fascinated to get your perspective on how you're thinking about that genre in general.
Yeah, influencer marketing, I think, continues to evolve. And, you know, what you've heard a lot, and I know you also know, is authenticity is so important. So there was once influencer marketing, which was pay to play. And as consumers and people, were smart. We want people that are generally connected and committed. And when we find generally committed fans who speak on behalf of a brand, it matters. So it continues to be an important part, but it's not a pay for play. So you see micro influencers, nano influencers that are really credible. And then when you have macro influencers, they're ones that have some legitimacy in the space, in the product, in the category, and not just, I have a big name, let's use that to drive influence.
What's the biggest observation? What was the biggest dotting the I or crossing the T for you, intuition going into 2020, that the pandemic or some of the things you spoke to in the first couple minutes here really solidified, like, okay, I had a hunch, but this is really what I believe?
Yeah, for me, 2020 was all about, and I'm going to say, human centricity. So, you know, we forever have been talking about in marketing being consumer centric. And, you know, Unilever is a company that believes it's what you do, it's not what you say. So we believe in purpose. 2020 has so solidified that for me, because when you think about people as consumers, you're ignoring everything else in their life. What we consume, how we interact with products is one little slice of our lives. When we think about who we are as humans, and then in that context, how we consume products and how we can help with all those issues, we grow, we create impact. And why 2020 really solidified that for me is we're all dealing with so much in our lives. It's so far beyond just, how am I washing my hands, right? What do I want on my hair? It's how it fits into the whole life. So arguably that's always been there, but we keep talking consumer centricity, the human centricity. And then it's what problems we can solve that are outside of the product, in the product, but what we do. And again, I use Dove Crown Act as an example of that. On my Dove men's business, Dove Men Plus Care, we're actually also partnering with the National Basketball Players Association to help end harmful stereotypes that actually kill Black men. So we have a partnership with them where we are highlighting the athletes and who they are as humans, not just as athletes, to change mindsets and behaviors. And that's another example of human centricity. So we've really made a commitment across brands. I've given two. I could give you a dozen of examples, and that will continue to be front and center for us on how we help with all the problems and use our product to help provide the wellness and the self-care that I mentioned earlier through hand sanitization, but also a moment of time out. I don't know if I mentioned we're launching a new brand we just launched with Walmart called Find Your Happy Place. We're all confined today.
That's the name of the brand?
It's called Find Your Happy Place.
I like
and
that.
So it's catching the sunrise, it's under the starlit sky. You know, there are moments because we want to escape. So that's another way we can use our product to help with what we want, right? We want to get out of the house or in the house, home for holidays, but also take the time to help with bigger issues.
You see, little fun one on the way out. What is the favorite social network for you, the human, on your phone?
Yeah, I heard your earlier guest talked about LinkedIn. For me, it's IG, it's Instagram. And it's because I'm incredibly visual. I can just get quick information. I get a sense for what's going on without the depth, and then I can go into the depth. So for me, my go-to is still IG.
I love it. And I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. Ciao.
Bye.